Well, hello, everybody, my good friends. Welcome to BARF. That's Backlog Accomplishment Respawn and Friends. Today, we're talking about It Takes Two, and I've got some really cool friends. There's more than two of us here. I'll go ahead and introduce you guys. We're going to start with Chris. Go ahead and see, how am I going to do this? Because you guys are in Windows and people can't see it. Underneath me, you go ahead and you go first.
Okay. Yeah. My name's Chris Waterman. I am a co-host over at ECG Podcast. Glad to be here to talk about my personal game of the year. It Takes Two. What's up?
Everyone check out ECG Podcast. Game of the Year should be the next podcast. That'll be fun to see where all the votes lie, because I'm very interested to see what everyone else does. Because we would got that wild card over there, Bobby. I don't know what he's going to end up doing.
God.
It'll be great. To my right, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I don't know who's to your
right. Who's on the right? I have no idea.
I'm sorry, you are. You.
You're pointing at nothing.
On my screen, you're pointing at nothing.
This is a shit show. Who's over here?
Is that me?
That me? Go for it.
Okay. It's him. Okay.
All right. Well, apparently I'm to his right or left, one or the other. But I'm Joel Campos. I co-host the Pixel Street podcast here with John Hansen. And we just played through all of It Takes Two, so I'm excited to talk about it.
And who's down here? Is this correct? I don't know.
Well, you're pointing into the corner, but assuming that I'm the only one. Hey, there you go. Yeah. Assuming I'm the only one left. I'm John Hansen. I'm also from Pixel Street. We have a podcast that we are also going to be talking about our game of the year coming up this week. And yeah, It Takes Two will more than likely be mentioned.
Yes, it's a very liked game. Thank you guys for coming on here and talking with me about this game that you guys all like so much. And what happened? Guess I'm not worried about it. Anyways, I'm sorry. Craig is being an asshole. So some basic info about It Takes Two. It's an action platformer developed by Hazelight Studios and Joseph Ferris, published by Electronic Arts, released on literally every console except for Switch in March 2021. Like Hazelight's debut title, A Way Out, the game does not have a single player option. It is playable only in either online or local split screen. That's the thing. All his games are co-op focused. It Takes Two received favorable reviews and then won Game of the Year at this last Game Awards. A couple other little things. Joseph Ferris pushed his team to include as many mechanics and set pieces as possible, since he believed the gameplay mechanic used repeatedly would become less special. They hit that on the game for sure. He described the game as a romantic comedy, and Ferris provided motion capture for Dr. Hakim himself. So we're gonna,
he got those gyrations.
Man, he was moving. That book was getting it. So we're gonna go all spoilers here, because it's hard to talk about this game without potentially bringing up spoilers. So we can do whatever we want. It's fine. Everyone be aware that, if you haven't played it, first of all, you should play it.
It's also been 9 months.
It's also been a very long time, and it already won awards at the.
It's on Game Pass now, so
it's got a friend pass. Like, split it with somebody. There's no reason to not play this game. That's why we're talking about the game. So, all spoilers ahead. What are your guys' top? I have some categories to break down, but at the top, what do you guys think about this game?
It's good.
Chris, you can go first. I'm gonna just interrupt.
It's my personal game of the year. I thought, this game embodies everything that I look for in a video game. It fulfills its design mission, which is obviously to make a good co-op game. As you pointed out, he wanted it to include as many mechanics as possible so as not to cause fatigue, and I think the game excels in that regard. Probably my favorite feature of the game was once I realized that they weren't going to repeat any mechanics, like it wasn't going to build on itself necessarily other than within like a single level. I look forward to each new level, and as I was kind of getting a little not fatigued, but like ready for the next thing. Like it was, the time for the boss fight, and moved on to the next thing. So I mean, I just absolutely love this game. I mean, I thought it was a joy to play. Who knew that a game about divorce could be so lighthearted and fun? So I mean, I thought this game was very special.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, the variety and everything within the game, like you've both said so far. I mean, it's abundant, obviously. There was a bit of that to a lesser extent in A Way Out. You had all the mini games, and the levels there were a bit different, not by any means on the scale that they are in It Takes Two, but Yeah, I think there was only one chapter that me and Joel said that we just weren't crazy about. We could get to that later, but and yeah, just the writing overall. I don't. I've known some people that get very what's the word I'm looking for? Just they're not too happy with the writing because it's the whole traditional. Because of the story, we have to make sure these two people get back together. Like we have to have that happy ending.
Sure.
And I don't really think that May and Cody are a great couple. I think this would have been a lot more interesting of a story if they did divorce and that they like we could see like a little bit of how they work together. But maybe that's also because I grew up in a family that my parents were divorced since I was 2. Me and my daughter's mother, we broke up when she was 2. So that's just kind of something I've been used to, and I work with her so well. So just like placing myself in the situation, I was kind of like, I kind of want to see them do something different than, okay, now they like each other again and everything's all hunky dory. But overall, great game.
Joel?
Yeah, I agree a lot on what both of John and Chris are saying. Like the gameplay is really cool, really kept you on your toes. Like, all right, this level, like, what are we gonna be doing? You know, like they just change it up so often, and I think they kind of did that in A Way Out, but then they kind of took it to the next level in It Takes Two, like in a good way. It felt like they were changing it up more often than in A Way Out. I also think they expanded the levels a lot more than in A Way Out because after we beat the game, me and John went back and cleaned up the achievements in A Way Out. So we cleaned up achievements in A Way Out, and I definitely felt like it was much more linear of a game than It Takes Two was at parts. There were many levels in It Takes Two where it was very linear, but there were also ones where it gave you the freedom to do what you wanted. Like there were like what was the snow globe level? We got to that big open area and we just like ran around like, all right, what is there to do here? For like the first 20 minutes we were there. Instead of just going to the objective and then you could choose which of the 3, towers you want to go take out first. And then going back to the story on what was John was saying about divorce, I think if they did actually get divorced at the end, it would have been much more impactful, like he was saying, because I think most people in one way or another have been affected by divorce, whether it's your parents, yourself, an aunt, uncle, whatever it may be. Everybody has an experience with it. So I don't know. I think there's a lot that, I saw in the game personally, just in terms of, the whole divorce thing. Because like John, my parents were divorced when I was 7. So I don't know. There was just like a lot of stuff along the way when I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, the fact that they got back together, I think, kind of hurt the ending of the game for me. But I
It
understand
felt
why
really
they needed to
rushed.
do it.
In a weird way because I guess there are like those hints and everything like, oh, they're starting to get together a little bit better now. In our let's play that we recorded, I like there's multiple times where I say that, oh, look at them, they're the connection's starting to get back and everything, but then it's just like always them like constantly reminding each other, oh, I can't wait until we're divorced. Yeah, when this is over, you get to have her and we'll go on vacation, and then she gets a second vacation with you. And then after May does her singing, it's like, okay, I love you again. I'm like, okay.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a great game. I loved it. It's definitely going to be in my list of top games this year.
For sure. Yep. I echo a lot of what you guys say. I think it's very good. I understand why it won Game Awards because people like things. It is very unique. I'll give it that 100%. Constantly changing up gameplay is like a big deal. And I think they hit on that perfectly. But I'm also with you where the story stuff is not good. I just think it's straight up not good, actually. Not even that I'm iffy on it. Do not enjoy that at all. As again, someone who my parents, this is so funny. My parents stayed together until I was an adult and then they got divorced. So they forced themselves to stay together for 20 years. And I was like, that is not what you're supposed to do.
No, that's
This
dangerous.
is not the message in this game is not a good one. When the Rose is like, oh, it's my fault you guys are getting divorced. Like, no, we'll stay together. It's not your fault. And it's like, oh boy, that is not a good mindset. I'm telling you right now, that is not going to end up good. But I mean, again, it's the ending of the story. But I think that part is bad. I also don't remember any of the characters except for Dr. Hakim. I like Dr. Hakim a lot, but while we were playing, I forgot our main characters' names. I'm like Troy and
Cody and
Cody.
Mindy?
May.
Cody.
It's Cody
May.
and May. You look at you struggling, huh?
So I think there's a lot of interesting like symbolism in this game, like told through like the environmental story. I think one of the things that really struck out to me, like, I don't disagree. By the way, I fully expected this to have kind of like a bittersweet ending, like where it was going to be, oh, they're going to be a harmonious like divorce couple where it's what's best for them, but like they're gonna collaborate, like and make sure that like what's their daughter's name? Crap,
Rose.
Rose.
is gonna have a great life. Like even though like the parents are separated, but I think like some of the other messaging I really dug, like the imagery of like the abandoned like garden, in the greenhouse and sort of like the dilapidated state of like the tools and stuff, I think was a great way to kind of show like maybe like the mental state of like the characters and sort of the things that they were going through and like where they're at, like as the game begins and kind of the things that they learn about themselves along the way and getting back to like their hobbies and what makes them a person and all that. I liked all that stuff a lot.
Yeah, that stuff was cool, but it has nothing to do with them getting together. I don't
No,
think they should be.
yeah.
Especially for like all the points they make are fair. Where he's like, "You're never home." She's like, "You don't work. I'm the only one who makes this family work." And like he argues with her and guilts her for being at work. I'm like, bro, someone's got to pay the bills. But I understand what they're saying. But it's like that's not how the real world works. If this was a fairy tale, when we were dolls, yes, that's how it would work. But that's not how real life works. So that ending is kind of weird. But again, overall, I think the game's very good. It'll be probably be in my top 5. I don't want to give anything away because there's a contest about Game of the Year stuff. But yeah, it's definitely in top 5 for sure, without a doubt. But yes, very good. I don't know if Game of the Year for me, but we'll have to see when we get there. So now that we took a top view of everything, I guess the first thing I want to talk about is gameplay stuff. As again, constantly changing mechanics, all that is super cool. Is there anything that stuck out to you, like favorite, either mechanic or area, level, whatever it is?
For sheer surprise factor, the toy level for me is like gotta be the end of that. Number one was probably the hardest I've laughed on stream ever before on Twitch. I was streaming that, playing with my brother, and he was like squealing and screaming.
Is that Moon Baboon?
No, with Cutie. Where you chuck Cutie up
with the elephant? Yeah, that's great. I love that whole part.
When you're just dragging her, yeah, that was good.
I mean, for a culmination, and then like everything up to that, like the boat ride and like all the other stuff. I just think that level is like masterclass. So that's my favorite.
Yeah, I think I agree because when me and John were the whole level, I was like, John, we got to go kill this fucking elephant. And then when we finally got up there, I was like, man, I didn't think that it was gonna be this like drawn out and like so crazy. Like that, like she was just like screaming for her life. And at one point, I was like, John, we can't do this.
Now, right there, I knew the parents were bad people. They're like, we have to kill her favorite toy. This is the only way it'll work. And they're just really dead set on doing it. It's like, oh, wow, you guys are bad.
It's like something out of South Park, like genuinely, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys that the toy level is probably my favorite. Of course, Cutie. That whole thing is just amazing. Even though that the cutscene after that, where they're literally dancing in her tears, it's so fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
That is so fucked up. Like, just as a dad myself, I was just looking at that and I was like, I hate these two right now. I despise them. But that level, like, also made fidget spinners kind of cool to play with, which was interesting. They had a bunch of little toys and everything that you could play with. The toy level is probably my favorite as well. The only one that like sticks out to me that I didn't like as much is the garden level. I felt it was really slow, and so our first playthrough I played as May, so I had the sickle and the water spray. Yeah. And I just felt like everything I was doing was just really slow. Like it's very built on the enemies as well that attack you and everything. And it just didn't feel like it meshed as well as the other levels do to me. But other than that, every level is great.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I played as May as well for that playthrough. I interestingly enough convinced my wife to like play. We're like slowly. She's not a gamer. Like slowly working through this, but we were at a holiday party for work, and I had recommended like I got a new boss back in like July, and he was like, "Listen, oh, you're a gamer. Oh, you do a gaming podcast. Like, I need something that like I can co-op like with my wife. Like, we like to play, but she's like, you know, like a very like light like new gamer." And I was like, "Well, it takes two. Like, do that. Like, there's no lives. You know, you could die and fail, but it's like not frustrating." And they just were going on and on and on at the holiday party, and my wife was like, "All right, let's
That's
get
awesome.
let's get back to this." Like, we had started it, and yeah, I think it's a fun game to play. Like, you know, but with a spouse, like it has that kind of like extra layer of, of like cooperation and stuff. So I swapped characters, so I'll be interested to see like what the Cody bits feel like when we do the other levels.
Yeah, I enjoyed the squirrel into the bee
Oh.
wasp stuff. Just because I
Oh,
like the
yeah.
little military squirrels, they're ridiculous.
forgot
And
about
then
I
that.
forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, that one was pretty fun, pretty
It's so
solid.
early in the game that yeah. Well, sorry to cut you off, Adam. I just wanted to like give a shout out to the third member for Pixel Street. Well, he used to be. I don't know what's going on. Connor. The first time we were playing, he was playing as me, and he got that fight, and he's a massive fighting fan. So just the whole 2D fight with the squirrel on top of the plane,
on the plane, yeah.
was amazing. Just hearing him like scream, like he's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
All right. So this one will work well for you two because this question pertains to you two. Me and Chris had different experiences. So, how was it playing co-op for you? Because I also played May the whole time, and I played with my friend George on his stream. And then Chris, you said you played with your brother and now your wife slowly, and then you two played together. So, how do you feel it is as a co-op experience, like all around?
I think that it was better than most co-op games are, because in this game I felt like, you know, there's stuff that John would have to do. It's not something I could have done myself. So like whether it was me, you know, me playing as Cody in that the garden level, I would have to pull some plants down for him to shoot, and stuff like that. Same thing with the magnet level. I forget what level was that, but where you each had half of
snow
a
globe.
magnet. Oh, the snow globe, yeah. Yeah, I thought that that was really cool, the way that it actually makes you do stuff as opposed to like my fiance, she's not a gamer either. And there are times like we'll play a Mario game or something and she won't know what to do and I'll just run over there and do it. So playing a game like this might benefit, you know, helping her learn, you know, how to play games. She can't get the two thumb thing down, which I get, like that could be confusing for somebody who doesn't game. And a game like this that would actually make her like, you know, if I'm like, hey, I literally can't do that, you have to figure it out, you know, something like that. So yeah, I thought the co-op aspect of it was great that it, you know, made you work together as a team and not just one person could run through the whole thing by themselves, essentially.
Yeah, I'm interested to try this with my daughter because she's 9, and I would be interested to see how well she takes to it because she's a bit of a gamer, but again, she's 9. So if it's not Roblox or Minecraft, who knows? But yeah, playing cooperative with Joel, there was a lot of those moments where it's like, yeah, there's not enough cooperative games, focused cooperative games. You have A Way Out, but the last game that this game really reminded me of was Portal 2, and that came out in what, 2011. So like it's been a decade since we got as good of a cooperative game as this. Yeah, I think cooperative, it's the best on the market right now for like new games. There's nothing that really comes close. You could play team games like Call of Duty or something, but you're not really being cooperative. You're just playing the game solo and stacking your points together.
So I played this with my my younger brother, and you know, we grew up doing couch co-op together, like from SNES to like N64, like any kind of couch co-op game. So we played A Way Out previously, really enjoyed that for what it was, and then we were both pretty shocked like at the jump in quality on this one. But like I think like the amount of laughing and sort of like weird emergent like goofing off that happens with this game, and it's great that you can see your co-op partner's like screen while you're playing too, because you can kind of get a little preview of whatever mischief they're up to. Like if you're like, it encourages you to kind of like, you know, get off the beaten path and kind of goof around. And I think that just like, I mean, that's what makes this game work so well, is that like there's nothing about it that's, you know, serious and to the detriment of like having fun. You know, like there's goals and you can, as I've said, you can fail, but it's never frustrating. And you know, even like the little mini games where there's kind of the encouraged like rivalry that you do, like where you're playing stuff like, you know, we would, all right, best 2 out of 3, like yeah, no, I don't really understand the first round there. We got to do best 2 out of 3 here. It's just so wonderful, you know. Like I don't know, like there it captured something from my youth that like I you just don't see in video games very much anymore. And I think that's probably why like I've taken to this game so much, is like fun is like kind of like the primary objective. And like just the entire time I had a good time playing it. So
this is the part where I diverge from not everybody, some people. So I played with George because Chris was like, "You guys got to play it. All right, we'll play it." And George is over on the ECG podcast, by the way. I don't know if I said that or not. And we were playing it. You know, he's doing it on stream, so it's like, all right, got a couple hours. Another one of my problems with the game, I feel it's a little too long. I'm just going to put that out there now. I feel like that game was like 2 hours shorter, it'd be a lot better. When it was like, oh, get to the daughter. Now get to the elephant. Now get these 4 pieces of paper. I'm like, okay, guys, let's calm down, relax. Maybe 3 pieces of paper, but it ended up being fine because I like all the levels. So we were doing in sections, of course, because we had to, and we were having a good time. But me and him, you know, like message each other. He's like, "Hey, when you want to play again, let me know." But he's like, "I'm not like I enjoy the game while I'm playing it, but I'm not dying to play this game to completion." And I was like, you know what? I feel the exact same way, my dude. Like, I think it's very good, but the minute I close out of it, I don't think about it again until it gets brought up. So our co experience was fun. I had a good time with George, but we were also on the same wavelength. We're like, I think this game is good. I'm not dying to beat this game at this exact moment. So that was an interesting way to play the game, but we both had fun. I think he had fun. I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't know. It grabbed me, but it didn't like grab me. Like when I played Deathloop, I just wanted to do nothing until I beat Deathloop. When I played this game, I was like, we can take our time, and it is what it is. And again, I still enjoyed it, but it didn't grab me.
But isn't that like what the co-op game used to be? Like, right? Like the co-op game like of old, like was like the game that you played kind of like in between the shit that you wanted to kind of like binge. I don't know. Maybe with the exception of like a Halo or like a Gears of War.
Say my 700 hours of PUBG say otherwise. That co-op play that.
Well, but that's like, you know, that's online. Like that's a persistent kind of thing. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think like what the closest analogy to like.
There's not a lot of co-op games anymore. They basically got rid of all of them.
I know. Well, even like old games, that what would be like the closest analogy to something like this? Though?
Like a Mario Party maybe back in the day when you had to have people to play with.
Yeah,
it's not co-op, but
yeah.
I mean, even like, you know, like way back, Donkey Kong Country like was like you'd swap on and off. Like it wasn't like
it's not playing at the same
That's the thing
time.
where you have to do it, which makes sense for the story, and I think it makes the game stronger. But then it's also like, we'll just get to this when we get to this, instead of being able to just keep doing what you want to do. So I think it was a smart move, but I just think that, you know, I wasn't clamoring for it.
I agree. I definitely agree with your point. Like that it's a little like I would have either trimmed some levels down like a little bit, or like to y'all's point, like the garden level. I feel like you could have cut out entire. I don't think anything was really gained by that level at all. Like that is by far the weakest, and even I like the B level, but I feel like that one was a bit long for what it was.
That one changes mechanics like 3 times. It's like, it's a long level. But yeah, no. Again, I'm not saying I don't like the game. It's just like,
that's fair.
So the last thing, unless anyone has anything else, talk about the story. We got to get to it. We talked about it at the top. How do we feel this story? Again, I'll say I don't agree with the message, and I think the message is bad. I honestly think the message is bad in the game. But I do like the actors. I see. Here's the thing about Dr. Hakim. I fucking love Dr. Hakim. Every time he was on screen, I was like, man, this guy is great. But then I'm like, also, that is a white voice actor doing a Hispanic impression. I don't know how to feel about that. But he's very good. I'll give it to him. He's very good. I like Dr. Hakim a lot. When he said, you got to turn your relationship into relationship, I fucking lost it. Or whatever. He said shit. It was so
like
good.
Kaka.
Yeah, I fucking love Dr. Hakim so much. So that's a character I enjoy. I like May and Cody, but again, the message, I'm just like, this little girl thinking that it's her fault, and then them like, no, you should be like, hey, it's not your fault. We love you, but sometimes parents got to do what they got to do. I think would have been a smarter move instead of just we fell in love because she sang.
One of the things me and John kept laughing about is that Rose, the little girl, kept walking up to her parents and talking to them, and
Or
they just were
comatose.
not responsive. Yeah, like, yeah, all
Mom's
right, Rose,
asleep
your
on the
mom's been
couch. Oh,
she's
you have
been
a
sleeping
headache?
there for 10 hours, and you're
I was
still
like,
talking to
I'm
her.
like, it should be like the next day. How long this game is taking? Like this, she should
Yeah.
have gone to bed and everything. How long this has been going on?
I do want to say really quickly. So the actor for Dr. Hakim was born in Mexico City. So he
Really?
is- yeah. It just maybe it's like more of an affectation to like drive the point home or
Sell
something.
it.
But
Gotcha. Because when I saw his picture, I'm like, that's a white guy. But I
it's,
might be wrong. He's born in Mexico
Joseph
City.
Balderrama is his name. But
Okay.
but
Again, regardless of what the actor's race was, I thought Hakeem was great. But knowing that he's born in Mexico City makes me feel a little bit better. He's also the voice of Cody. That's why, because I'm like, oh, he's definitely a white dude because he's Cody.
Oh,
yeah,
But he's also Dr. Hakeem. So,
he
but he's
seems like
French.
he's biracial. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
fine. Good, because he's funny as fuck. So I didn't want to feel bad about it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that it was Cody. That's interesting.
Yeah, I noticed at the very end when like they have lines back to back. I'm like, oh, hold on a second. You guys sound sort of
Yeah.
familiar here, which is
Okay.
a thing in voice acting you're not supposed to do is have two characters voiced by the same person. But
Yeah.
I didn't notice until like literally like the singing level. I was like, oh shit, that's you.
Cool.
No, I thought he was definitely like funny. He like I said, a little bit exaggerated, like right, like in terms of like the character. But I think that's kind of the point too. Is like not supposed to be subtle at all, right? Like he's got like the mustache and the big heart on his chest and all that.
She
kind of
found
good
him in the
stuff.
trash because it's a trash book.
Oh my god! Yeah, I forgot about that. That's funny.
Oh,
Whoever
me?
wants
What?
to go
What?
next about
Okay,
story
okay,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm with you. The overall message, I think it would have been much better if they actually divorced, broke up, and were able to work together as separate parents. I just think that's the much better alternative than forcing a relationship. But yeah, there are different points of the game. I said that the ending feels rushed, but I think that's because a lot of like the ending points of the different chapters feel rushed. The garden level, I'm right there with you, Chris. That could have been completely cut out because pretty much the entire time it's just Cody moaning, "Oh, she would never encourage my gardening," and then at the end, "Oh, I should have encouraged him. Everything's okay now." Like okay, whatever. Yeah, I think this is just a thing with Hazelight because A Way Out had a really weird ending as well. That like the whole problems of that could have been just avoided if Vincent just didn't reveal he was a cop in front of Leo. So it's like I think Hazelight just Joseph Ferris and that whole team, they're so focused on making like a cinematic game here. I think their writing maybe takes a little bit of a hit because they're just so focused on the cinematics and everything and making the fun game, which isn't a bad thing. Like, not every game has to have a perfect story or anything. It just is something that I take away from both of these games, which I still love both of them. I think they're excellent games. They're the best cooperative games on the market right now, and I love them. But just the story. We mentioned Rose, where I want to feel bad for her, but also every time I see her in the game, I want to make fun of her. There's just so many things in there that I'm like, the story isn't the selling point of this game by any means.
No, I mean everything takes a backseat to the mechanics, both in this and A Way Out. And to your point, yeah, like it's an absurd way to like go about ending A Way Out. But like I will say, like not to get on a huge tangent, that made for like the greatest like mechanical like twist.
Oh yeah,
to all of a sudden be like, oh shit, like
yeah. I was losing my mind.
But yes, it is for like for narrative purposes it is utterly absurd. Sorry, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, the story, much of the same of what everybody's been saying, like at times it's really good, and then at times it can be really bad. Like John was saying, is like every level you go through, and then it's like, oh wait, that's all I need to do this whole time was care. All right, let's do it. And then I don't know, like I think that it like I said earlier would have had much more of an impact at the ending if they did, realize like, hey, we still love each other, still respect each other, but we need to divorce, like, or at least take a break, something.
Mhm.
Not just a happily ever after ending. Because yeah, they're definitely gonna still have problems. Everything is not just gonna be fixed within a 10-hour video game. Um,
It feels so
but yeah, I don't
forced.
know.
It feels just very forced. Like they're like, okay, we've got this thing. We really want to hit the fairy tale ending, and we just have to hit it. Like I don't know. I just can't get over them actually ending up together at the end, and the
Yeah,
whole thing that gets them out of their doll forms was just a kiss. Like that's such a fairy tale ending like trope, and
Classic Disney, kind of stuff.
yeah, and they like go so hard out of the way to just like never mention a kiss or anything. Like Cody thinks, oh, we have to get her to cry on us. It's like, no, what? No, this whole thing is about you two getting back together. Why would that be the thing that breaks the spell? It. The more I think about
yeah,
it, the more I'm like, okay, this story is just dumb.
That's why the
yeah,
game. I think the gameplay is so strong because it completely makes up for that story and makes it like I'm like, yeah, I can see why people that game of the year because the gameplay is so unique and good. Because I'm like, if it was just based on if this is a story based game only, not so like another like Psychonauts 2. I think the story and what they tackle in the game is really, really good, but the gameplay is like I think it's fine. Like it feels like an early 2000s platformer, but just very pretty. But the story is very good, but the gameplay is like whatever. And this one, it's the opposite. We're like, I love the gameplay in this, but I'm like the story I do not vibe with. So interesting, like game of the year contender games that are like opposites in that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
was
yeah,
quite surprised, like that they actually got together. Like, I really thought that they were going for the, oh, like you've neglected like your like individual like self, and you can be collaborative without like being romantic. Like, I really thought that's where they're going with the story, and I liked it for that reason. And yeah, I think like it is a bit odd, like because it doesn't feel entirely necessary. Like I think they could learn all the lessons that like they learned like without ending up like still married at the end of that game. Like I think there's like plenty of valuable lessons there, and I think it kind of cheapens it to be like, oh, like, and now like that all this stuff, you have to stay like married. It's like, well, no, like you can divorce and have learned these lessons together and come out better through this weird shrunk down clay experience or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm totally with you guys on that. And that's where I thought it was going. So yeah, agree.
yeah, just imagine if like there's a sequel to this game and it's just Cody and May having troubles again. Like if they don't break up that time, I'm going to literally scream.
Dr. Hakim
gonna
is
be
back
called
to fix your relationship.
it takes three, and it's like Cody's mistress.
What's up?
The babysitter. Oh my god.
The babysitter.
Oh geez. But I mean, like, wouldn't it? I don't know. Wouldn't it be more of a impactful like lesson for their child to say, hey, like, hey, we realize like that. Yes, we're divorcing, but like we have to still be a family. It's gonna look different now, and I don't know, like.
Yeah, telling your child, I mean, it's one thing to be like, yes, work on relationships, they can be difficult. To tell your child, like, you have to make it work no matter how you personally feel. You got to force it. It's like, that's, you shouldn't tell that to your child at all. That's
It's a
not
terrible
good
message.
If you change the backdrop of this to like newlyweds or like
Yeah.
people that are like earlier like versus like the divorce backdrop, and I know I didn't pipe up, but like yes, I'm also like my parents got divorced at 4, like I was 4, like like yes, like completely changes the tone, I think, like, and kind of the plausibility, like to have this kind of story if they're like young couple versus like where they're
Yeah.
at, clearly
Like they're
like,
learning to be together compared to, oh, we've already stopped. But it's like, oh, fix it now. It's like, maybe don't.
I think it also.
Oh, go
Sorry.
ahead, sorry. No, you're fine.
I was just gonna say, I think it just also would have been cool to just get a story about divorce that it actually would happen because, like I said, it's the whole fairy tale trope that they end up together again. Like, no, if let's say halfway through the game they actually divorced and everything, it was official, then they become dolls and everything, and then it's just them like learning how to change that lifestyle because that is a big lifestyle change. I went through it, and you just got to learn how to like communicate with the other person and like how are we scheduling everything out? How are we moving on, but also showing our daughter that hey, this is fine. Like this is a good thing. Like life is going to be so much more tolerable for everyone involved if we do this. There's nothing like that on the gaming market, and all this game ended up being story wise is just another everything's fine at the end, whatever.
Definitely go kill those squirrels once they turn back human. But all right, that'll be it for the end of the show. Okay, I already know the answer. Do you guys recommend playing this game to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Big thumbs up. Have fun with your buddies and get that
Absolutely.
free friend pass. All right, so that's the end of the show. Everyone, thank you for joining BARF. Backlog, Jesus Christ in heaven. Backlog, accomplishments with Respawn and friends. I've been working for 12 hours.
BARF!
Yeah. Outros. We'll go ahead and do it again. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at It's Waterman or at ECG Pod. I host the East Coast Games podcast along with Adam, George, Bobby, Zach, Erica, and is that everybody? Did I get?
I think you're right. I don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
Anyway, yeah, we talk about all kinds of good nerd stuff. Good time.
And get Chris on your podcast, people. He's fun. He talks about other stuff.
Yeah, I want to
as
guest
well.
on more stuff, so please.
No doubt. Joel?
You can find me on Twitter at Campos63, as well as at Pixel Street. That's where me and John post all our videos we post on YouTube, along with our podcast, Pixel Street Podcast. Or twitch.tv/Campos63. I can be found opening Pokemon cards from time to time there.
Very nice. John?
And I'm John Hansen. You can find me on Twitter at Revic Shadows. I also write for a gaming site called GamePer. I mostly cover guides, but I do some reviews and features in there as well. So I cover a lot of stuff. But yeah, our YouTube channel, Pixel Street Videos, we also put up a bunch of stuff. If you want to know why or how Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi got their names, I just put up a video about that. So that's kind of cool.
I saw that earlier today. It was very awesome. All right. Was someone saying something? Am I crazy? This is a mess. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. And we will see you next time.